The Modern Man tutorials, how to keep your woman from cheating, or just how to reduce the chances that she'll cheat. Because first you have to understand why females tend to cheat. The reason typically is my understanding, the analogy of it was they cheat, even though they could just break up and easily get with another guy. The thing is, they can get with another guy for sex, but they can't get with another guy for a relationship. So the reason they cheat is because, for a couple of reasons, right? One is to justify the breakup, right? And second, it's to secure the next relationship. That's why they have sex with the other guy, because they want to make sure the other guy wants the relationship, right? So first they'll talk, get to know each other. So, talking phase, right? But then eventually it needs to go to the next level. In order for it to go into a relationship, she has to give him something for the relationship. She can't get the relationship unless he gets what he wants, which we know 99% of the time is going to be sex, which is why the cheating happens. Because if she can get the relationship without sex, then she'll just get the relationship, dump you, right? For whatever reason, make up a reason why she's leaving you or whatever, oh, we grew apart, whatever nonsense, and then just leave you for the other guy. And then after the fact, have sex, right? But typically, like I said, 9 out of 10 times, more likely the guy's gonna want sex, and he's not going to make her his girlfriend unless she does, right? The way, it used to be is, in order to get sex, you had to get married, so, right, that kind of stuff. So that's no longer the thing, right? So now you can get sex without marriage, but in order to get a relationship, sex is a factor. So that's why. That's the typical reason why a woman cheats. She wants to leave the relationship. The love for you is gone, right? Or the feeling of love. Remember, it's an emotion, it's not logic, right? We love logically. Females love emotionally, which means and we know their emotions change a lot, right? It goes from happy to sad, left and right. It can happen in a split second. So she can stop loving you really easily. Now, of course, you always, get those feelings back and love you again later on, but that's for a different topic, the whole breakup thing, right? But this is the understanding of why they cheat when they could just break up with you and just easy go get another guy easily, because they need to secure the relationship, right? They don't want to leave and then try to go through the whole dating scene trying to get another boyfriend, right? Another guy to commit. Because remember, part of why they were with you is because they want the resource. If they just want to be with one guy after another guy, and, hot girl summer, all that stuff, then they wouldn't have gotten a relationship with you in the first place, right? They wouldn't have dated you, been your girlfriend or become your wife, right? If this is a scenario that you're in a marriage, you also have to, keep in mind, marriage or relationship, this advice applies the same way, because of the understanding that she could always try to leave. Now, to make it where it's not likely for her to leave is the fact of understanding why she would stay, right? Remember, like I said, it's emotional. It's not logical. Because logically, if you're taking care of all the bills, you love her, right? You respect her, you protect her, you've done all these good things for her. Like, you've done more good for her than bad as a worker. No one's perfect, right? So there's going to be times where, you said no to her and that was an issue, or you made a promise and you failed to, keep your promise. It happens. No one's perfect, right? Logically. But when it comes to, females, it's more about emotions, less of logic. So you have to understand that if she leaves, it's more emotional, not logical. And it's going to be the lack of emotion for you. So then her emotion is going to go elsewhere. That's henceforth the cheating, right? Which is why it's more of a problem when a female cheats, because Yes, she has sex. That's a thing, right? But it's not just that she has sex with another guy. It's the fact that she wants to be with another guy, and that she had to do the sex to secure it, to get the other guy. That means she plans to leave. When a guy has sex with another chick, we all know that it's like, it was just another chick. She was hot, you know? Guys don't love through their penises, right? When we have sex with you, it doesn't mean we love you. We can hate you and still fuck you, right? We can find you unattractive and still fuck you, right? Because it's just a function. Like, we do it just because it gives us a result that we want. And the result is to bust a nut, and then that's it. This is why most guys watch porn and masturbate, right? Because we just need the release. It's not love. There's even guys who will watch a porn after they finish, you know, they'll be like, damn, why did I watch that? Like, oh, that's not my thing, right? Just because it was an urge, they took care of it right there and then. And afterwards, like, yeah, I will never do that again. Not my thing. There's guys who prefer slimmer women versus bigger women, but they'll masturbate to plus size women porn, right? Only because it's different than what they're used to. It was just a thing at the time. Like I said, guys don't love through their penises. Guys don't need love to have sex. Females, however, do need love to have sex, which is why she had to have sex with another guy in order to secure a relationship, because she had to prove her love to the guy for the next relationship, so she had to provide him the sex for it. If she could just get it just by asking, like, hey, can I be your girlfriend? He'd be like, yeah. All right, cool. I'm your girlfriend. I'll be there tomorrow. And then boom, break up with you the same day, and then the next day end up with him. If she could do it that way, that's the way she'll do it. But no, she has to do the sex in order to guarantee the relationship. So like I said, once you understand, then you get like, okay, so this is why it would happen, why she would leave. So since sex is a factor, as well as her emotions a factor, those are two things you gotta have control of, as it were, right? As in understanding her emotional state, right? Understanding if she's emotionally invested in you, if she's emotionally attached to you. Because if her eyes are wandering elsewhere, there's something going on, right? So in this scenario, it is you, not her. It is you that's causing her to look elsewhere, because you're not doing enough of what you could do to keep her attention. Now, most guys out there will advise you not to change for her, right? Not to do things differently than you would for her, because whatever you were doing that caused her to be attracted to you is what should retain her. But a lot of times females over time, they want to change things. They want to change you, just like how they change their hair, their clothes, and their makeup, and things in their lives. This is why most females can't stay loyal to one guy nowadays, because they're so used to, especially modern day women, are so used to the idea of changing, upgrading, replacing, out with the old, in with the new. Guys, we're more of collectors. That's why we have no problem having multiple females, because we're more collectors. We still have old shirts that we wore 10 years ago. We still got them. We still wear them from time to time. They are our favorite shirt, our lucky shirt, or lucky whatever, right? We still have them. We like to have variety. Females don't, right, as much. They like different experiences, yes, but not variety as in, like, they don't like to have too much. They don't like to, unless they're a hoarder and they like to keep everything, right? They typically like to replace stuff, right? Out with the old, in with the new. That's why they follow fashions and all this, that, and the third. And they're always getting new makeup, right? And they don't even use their old makeup in a long, long time. That's why they'll have a whole bunch of shoes, because, you know, they needed different shoes for different outfits. But then now they barely wear the old shoes. So it's like, you got 30 pairs of shoes you don't wear. Make that make sense? But that's why. They always want something new. And usually they get rid of the old, or they ignore the old because of the new. Which is why if you start getting old, as in not age-wise, but old in in behavior, in lifestyle, if you don't make sure that like every week or at least every month, you add something new to your lives, maybe a different trip, maybe a new car. Like the idea is to always upgrade once in a while because you want her to feel, remember feelings, feel that your life is changing. And since your life is changing, right, there's new things in your lives, in the house, in the bedroom, right? You know, let's say you gain some weight. If you lose that weight, that's a change, right? That change she will notice. And that would like restart her emotions of like, oh, this is different. You lost some weight. I mean, she might be suspicious. Like, oh, what, who you losing weight for? You know what I mean? But that makes it more interesting because that shows she cares. Oh, now she's concerned. Like, oh, who you losing weight for? Right? The answer should be for her, but, you know, or for yourself, but obviously she benefits from it. But the thing is like the fact that this is something new and it's getting her emotional about it. Now, if you lose weight and whatnot, she don't care. If you get a new car, she don't care. If you buy a new house, she don't care. Well, you see there's something wrong there. If she don't care, and she's the type of person who normally does care, there's something going on there. So even doing this wouldn't matter. Like changing aspects of your life wouldn't matter if, you know, she doesn't care. The whole idea of changing things is to see if she cares. And if she cares, then you know you're doing the right thing because you know she's invested in you, right? She cares what's going on, right? Sometimes guys forget that your girl, your woman, wants to be your cheerleader, right? She wants to root for you. She wants to cheer for you. She wants to be proud of you. You know, she wants to be happy for you. So she wants you to achieve and do things. That's why you hear the word ambitious, right? Oh, I need a man who's ambitious, blah, blah, blah. To me, I don't like that word. When females say it, I get it. It makes sense that, yeah, you should have a guy who wants to do a lot in life. But the whole ambitious thing when females say is, to me, it's just, oh, he needs to make more money. More money for me to use so I can live a lifestyle that I want without even earning it. Just by being in a relationship is enough for me to get that lifestyle. You know, that kind of stuff. Selfishness. So I hate the whole term ambitious when females say it. But if a guy says it himself, like he's ambitious, he likes to do this, that, that, well, that's different, right? That's just more he's goal orientated, he's competitive, right? Which is good traits to have as a man. And of course, it is attractive to the opposite sex, right? Ladies love that. But like I was saying, you know, that you want to focus on her emotional state, make sure that she is happy. She's not always gonna be happy, make sure she has a little bit of happiness here and there, a little bit of normalness, right? There, you can't say yes all the time. You gotta say no once in a while, and just keep her happiness levels, you know, steady, right? Up and down, up and down. So that way she can appreciate the relationship because she'll get bored if she's happy all the time or if she's sad all the time. And that's why you have to keep track of her emotions. I know it sounds like extra work to keep track of somebody else's emotions when they should keep track of it themselves. But like I said, their emotions is what determines if they stay with you or not. And if you want her to stay with you, you might want to keep an eye on it. It's the same thing as keeping track of her menstrual cycle, right? Her period cycle. You know, that's an important detail about her you might want to memorize. Her birthday, anniversaries, you know, little details like that are important to remember because those things will matter to her. Plus other stuff. Sex, right? You might want to make sex a little bit more interesting over time. Don't try to be predictable. You want to be a little unpredictable. Like I said, sex is an important factor you want to keep track of. Because once you start noticing that she's making excuses not to have sex, you're having less sex, and you gotta understand, right? There's a reason females have sex. I'll say 9 out of 10 times is because of love, right? Emotions. She loves you, she opens her legs to you. That's why. right? She loves the idea of you penetrating her, which is why she lets you. If she's not letting you, that means the love is not there. Because the love is the motivator, right? The love is the reason. Love is what unlocks, is the password to her legs opening. So if she doesn't have love for you, her opening her legs to you is slim to none, right? So if you start noticing that, that's an indicator that something's going on. So then you have to start paying close attention. Ideally, one way to help with this is you should only really be with a woman that loves sex, right? Specifically with you. You know, she's always trying to have sex with you whenever y'all together. Or at least she's trying to be physical with you, right? Instead of making excuses of like, oh, I'm busy, I gotta do the laundry, I gotta do this and that. Like, yeah, you could do the laundry, you just put it in the laundry machine and the machine does all the work. You can come over here and sit on my lap while we watch Netflix. This whole, I gotta do laundry, makes no sense. You know what I mean? That's not an excuse not to be intimate. So if she is using that as an excuse, well, that's an indicator there's something going on. So these are the types of factors you want to keep in mind. That if things are changing, you know, especially if you got with a chick that is very, very physical, like her love language is physical contact, then that's the thing. Now, she doesn't have to be physical contact. She could be the other type, you know, the love, the service, love language, you know, active service is what we call active service, love language, you know, cooking, cleaning, doing things for you is how she shows love for you. But if you notice she's cleaning less, cooking less, there's an indicator. The main thing is when you start noticing she's doing less of what she normally does, when she's doing the bare minimum or even less than the bare minimum, that's a problem. It's not that different like if you were a boss of a company and you notice one of your employees is doing less work than they used to. Before they used to do more than you paid them to do, right? They were your best worker. They worked extra hard, extra fast, right? But then after a while they start slowing down. Then their productivity started dropping. They're not finishing their work as often as they used to, and the list goes on. They start coming in late. They call out sick way too often, right? Those are indicators that something going on with your employee. You might want to check on your employee and see what's going on, right? That's the logical thing in business. You have to correlate that to relationship. Relationship is a lot like a job. You're the boss. Should be. You're the boss. And she's your number one employee. All right, so you got to reward her, obviously, in many different ways. It's up to y'all to decide how y'all reward each other, how you reward her for her great service in the relationship. And you definitely want to keep her, right? You want to retain her. So it's important to understand how to retain her. If, you know, giving her some acts of services from time to time will help retain her, then do so. If, you know, physical touch, even if talking, just talking about whatever she wants to talk about will help you retain her, right? Help avoid the cheating, then do so. Don't make any excuses to be like, oh man, I don't like to talk. It's too bad. You want her? You want to keep her? You talk. Right? That's simple. Now, I'm not saying simping or anything, or be a yes man, right? But don't be an asshole, right? Don't neglect her. That's one of the common things we hear females complain about is feeling neglected. Remember, feeling. Not that they were neglected and they have justifiable neglection stories. It's always that they feel neglected. He doesn't hug me enough. Not that he never hugs me. He never hugs me enough. He never says, I love you enough. Notice that? It's always the not enough. It's like, how much is enough? If I say I love you once a day, that should be more than enough. Because that's too much. That's 365 I love you a year. So how is that not enough? Oh, you wanted me to do it twice a day, 3 times a day. Oh, you want me to say I love you every time I saw you. So if I saw you 4 times a day, you want me to do it 4 times a day? That's pretty excessive. But that's the kind of stuff that they will justify not being loved or feel neglected. So the idea is to make sure she doesn't feel neglected, right? Unappreciated and whatnot. And definitely, if she's doing a whole bunch of awesome shit for you, you know, in and out, in the bed, out the bed, always thank her. Always be grateful, you know. Because for us, it's logical to be grateful. I notice a lot of times females are not as grateful as they should be, but it's because they do things based off emotions, not off of logic. Because logic dictates, be grateful, right? Be grateful that he pays your bills. Because I saw a TikTok where a chick was complaining that a guy she went on a date with, let's say the dinner date, right? The bill was $400, and the guy pays for it. She made a big deal that the guy didn't buy a $2 rose for her during the date, and she has a problem with that. Even though he paid the bill, let's say it was $400. I don't know how much it was, but let's say hypothetically he paid $400 for the date. She's making a big deal over a $2 rose versus the $400 he spent on the date. She ain't complaining that he paid for the date. She just complained he didn't get her the rose during the date. Think about how ungrateful that is. He spent more on making sure they ate that has substance, something to keep them strong and energetic and alive. That didn't matter. The rose mattered. The symbolism, how it made her feel. It would have made her feel special and awesome and loved if he bought her the $2 rose. Now we get it, you know. It's like, it's only $2, why didn't he do it, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is like, if that's all that it takes for her to be happy was a $2 rose instead of the $400 dinner, she should have said that up front, so that way he didn't waste $400 on a dinner. He could have got some cheap ass shit. You could have got McDonald's or something, and then bought her the rose. Buy her the rose, take her to McDonald's, and buy off the dollar menu and save some money. Why spend $400 on a date if she's going to complain over a $2 rose? And her thing is, oh, I'm not going to date him again. Like, what? Over a $2 rose? Over rose, something that was going to die, especially if it was a real rose. If it was a plastic rose, it'll last longer. But if it's a real rose, that wasn't going to last longer than 2-3 days, right? And really, that mattered to you more than the fact that he took you on the date. And you're talking about you're not going to date him again? Date. The rose is not the date. Him paying for the dinner and spending time with you was the date. So the fact that the rose was more important. So see how that, you know, how emotions override logic, right? So you guys got to be logical. So when it comes to keeping a woman by your side, you got to be logical with it, right? Also, a reason why you don't chase women, they're supposed to chase you. Because if they're chasing you, it's because they have feelings behind it, right? And they want you. So let them chase you, let them simp for you. Once they stop simping, then you know that something's going on. Her feelings for you are fading, and you might want to do some things to try to spark her feelings again. So that's why you when you're dating, you definitely need to practice that. Practice, you know, noticing when she's doing less of something, and then try to see what you can do to get her to start doing more of it, right? If she hugs you less, for example, try to figure out how to get her to hug you more, right? Other than ask her to hug you more, right? You could technically try, you could ask her to hug you, like you could, like literally ask more times, like whenever you get a chance, it's like, all right, I'm leaving, can I get a hug? You know, type of thing. I'll see you later, can I get a hug? You see her like, hey babe, I'm back. And you put your arms out for a hug and see if she'll give you a hug. You know, you could try to get more hugs and see how it works out. Depending on how she reacts to it, if she acts like it's inconvenient, it's a chore, it's something she's not enthusiastic to do, then yeah, that's an indicator that yeah, she's declining in her feelings for you. So either A, you know, consider what I'm saying to help you fix it and get her back to loving you again, or consider this is the final thing, right? end it before she gets to the point where she does cheat. You know, that's the thing. From my own personal experience, I had a scenario like that where one of my exes, I noticed that her feelings for me were declining. I noticed her eyes were wandering, looking towards another guy and whatnot. And, I liked the other guy. He was cool. I was cool with him. He was good people. And I'm like, hey, I'd rather let her go and she ends up with the other guy and be happy, hopefully that's, live happy ever after. Hopefully that's how it works out and that'd be fine. Considering the fact that part of it is that I knew the relationship wasn't going to last because before we even got together, I told her, well, the relationship's not going to last that long. It's only going to last as long as I'm here in this location. Once I leave, I'm going to go back where I'm from. I'm not going to stay in this city. I'm going back home. That if we date, understand that there's a time limit. The thing is, we ended up breaking up before the time limit, before I had to leave. But that came from me seeing, how the relationship was slowly declining, and then, I broke it off. It was, mutual breakup type thing, where she understood, and I had to explain to her, it's like, I noticed that you're distancing yourself from me. A couple of times I tried to hug you, and you weren't interested. And of course, I respected the boundary. It's like, you don't want me to touch you, that's fine. Something's going on. I'm not gonna make a big deal about it because, I don't got no issues with you, but apparently you have an issue with me. But like I said, I had to make the logical decision and did explain to her, it's obvious that her interest in me is fading and her interest in someone else is rising, so she might as well shoot her shot, right? She might as well, see what happens with the other guy. I did tell her, like, hey, if he's not interested in you in this, that, and third, and you change your mind and you want to get back with me, I'll be available. But, you do you. So that was the thing. I at least left an opportunity for her to get back with me. It's like, I'm letting you go because I'd rather us leave this relationship in good terms, which I typically do, as opposed to negative terms. It's like, I'm not trying to get into this whole, like, we hate each other bullshit that everybody else does with their exes. It's like, I'd rather let it end logically. Like, okay, you're not enjoying this relationship anymore. That is fine. You can go. It's not like we're married or anything. It's not like we have kids. So you're not stuck with me type of thing. You're not duty bound or obligated to stay with me. You can leave anytime you want, right? So if you want to leave, that's okay. Do so. And part of it, of course, is you want to have emotional control. The fact that you're the one that's noticing that things are declining, and you probably can't fix it because it is not you, it is her, and only she can fix it, right? You can try to encourage her to want to stay in the relationship longer, but if she doesn't want to stay, she doesn't want to stay. So be the bigger person, the better, right? Be the man and let her go and see what happens. She could always come back to you, right? That's always a possibility. But you rather let her go than for her to go on her own behind your back, right? You rather her go out the front door with your blessing than going out the back door behind your back and you're unaware that she left, right? You rather that. You don't want to get a breakup text or something like that, right? That reminds me. Yeah, I broke up with my ex-fiance through a text. So that was ironic. But it kind of makes sense considering the fact that the way I got with her was through the internet. So breaking up with her through the internet, well, so to speak. I mean, it was through my phone, but you get the idea. So since we got together through technology, it makes sense that we break up through technology. So there's that. most of my other breakups were mostly in person, and it was situational. Like, I'm leaving to another place, or I'm going to a different school. She's going to an all-girls school. I'm going to a regular, public school. So we're not going to see each other. Maybe in the future we will, but we're not seeing each other in the next couple of years. So we got to go separate ways. That kind of stuff. So that's a typical breakup for me. But a lot of times, yeah, I do have to do the breakup thing myself. And it's the whole plan for the worst, hope for the best. Best case scenario, y'all stay together longer. Worst case scenario, she breaks up with you. That's the thing. Most guys don't consider the idea that when they get in a relationship with a female, a woman, right? They don't consider it ending, because they usually don't think that they're going to be the one that ends the relationship, right? Which is fair. Guys typically don't want to lose anything. But at the same time, you should always consider that she could always want to leave. And with that being the case, you plan for that. Not necessarily trying to stop her from leaving, obviously, but you plan for when she does. Now, this is an advice that I give to most guys, is that you should at least have a backup plan, right? You should always, have other females who you have an eye on, right? That could replace her when the time comes. But that's only if she's actually, losing love for you and she wants to leave you type thing, but she hasn't, got the nerve to break up with you yet, or she hasn't found someone to replace you with. And you you don't want her to cheat, right? You rather avoid that, because it's just, you rather just end it than to allow it to get to that part. Don't let her, fuck up, as it were. Don't let her make a bad decision. For her, it's not a bad decision. For you, obviously, you'll see it as a bad decision. Anyway, the main thing is understand that you need to be prepared for the relationship not lasting long, either because you don't see her being the one for you, right? Or you see that she wants to leave the relationship. You rather catch it early than to be surprised, right? Too many guys are surprised that their significant other leaves them. It usually is because they're not paying attention to the significant other. They're too busy, doing what they're supposed to do, right? Work hard, pay bills, blah, blah. So they're thinking everything's fine because they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? Being a protector, provider, all that good stuff, right? Being a good boyfriend, but not realizing that she's being a bad girlfriend. Let me put it that way. She's being a bad girlfriend, a bad wife, by slowly declining in her interest in the relationship, which typically happens to people when they work. You even notice that when females work at a job. You see after a couple weeks, the first couple weeks, they're all excited, they're all energetic, right? Nice and bubbly, friendly, happy, very girly, like, oh yeah, life is good, yay. But after a while, they start getting all doom and gloom, stressed out, irritated, right? It's like, well, duh. That's the effects working does for most people. Guys can handle it better than females do, right? But that's why a lot of females tend to quit more often than guys do. Guys will stay in a shitty job for a long, long time. Females, they'll quit easily. So since they do that with jobs, don't think they won't do that with a relationship, which is why you treat a relationship like a job, right? You vetted her for the position of your girlfriend / wife / mother of your children, right? You better make sure that she lives up to her resume, right? That she lives up to her requirements, right? Your requirements, her duties in the relationship. Once you start slacking on that, you need to let her know, hey, notice you're slacking. And if she doesn't want to fix it, she doesn't want to improve on the fact that she's slacking in the relationship, she's not doing her part, and you are still doing yours, I gotta let her go, right? Give her pink slip and find somebody else to replace her. It's only logical, right? What's not logical is trying to keep her unnecessarily, trying to bend over backwards. It's like your job trying to keep you when they can easily replace you with someone better, but try to keep you by letting you come in late on purpose. Yeah, you can come in an hour late. Yeah, you can leave an hour early. Yeah, you can take a 2-hour lunch break, bending over backwards. It's like, no, it's bullshit. Yeah, we'll give you a raise even though you don't deserve it. Like, no, don't do that. She either meets your standards or somebody else will, right? Logically, find somebody else that can meet standards. And that's what you want. It's someone who wants to be there, right? Any corporation, any company, any business owner wants an employee, right? Or somebody who wants to be part of their business to want to be part of it. Not be there just for the money, not be there just because it's convenient or it's close to their house so they don't have to walk far, none of that nonsense. Most jobs don't like that, right? They want someone who believes in the relationship, in the in the business, and in the work, and wants to do it. That's the thing. Like, you want a female, right, a woman in your life that wants to be in your life, not because you got money and clouds and good looks and all this other stuff. I mean, looks, matter to a certain degree, but who you are as a person should be the thing she cares about the most. Like, I need to have a guy like this in my life. So that's why it's important that she simps for you, not you for her. Right? They're always going to be a hotter chick than her anyway. So the idea of you like simping for her as if she's the only one to exist that meets your requirements. Guys are simple. Sex sandwich silence. Right? If she's attractive and has a vagina, she's the one, right? But there's always another one that can easily replace her. So this idea of like, no, she's the only one and I gotta keep her, like, no, you don't. If you can retain her, that's one thing. If you can get her to, be a good girlfriend, wife, mother of your children, great. But if you can't, be prepared to fire her and replace her. It's only logical.